I've got to tell some stories and explain what it was like raising you two.
A Philly kind of a spin on it. Okay. It's called
You're in?
Yeah, Christmas on Call.
Your girlfriend, now wife.
Jason, you really didn't bring a lot of ladies home.
Yeah, no.
After the Super Bowls ended, the noise didn't fade. It stopped. There were no cameras waiting, no schedules pulling at the day, no reason for the phone to keep ringing the way it once did. And in that quiet, something unfamiliar settled in. Donna Kelce had spent years surrounded by motion. Airports, locker rooms, conversations that never paused long enough to breathe. Her life moved forward even when she stayed still inside it. But when the seasons stopped stacking on top of each other, silence didn't feel like rest. It felt like weight. What happens when your purpose was built around holding everything together? And what remains when that job is finally done? Donna was never meant to be center stage. Her role lived just outside the frame. Quiet, necessary. When the noise disappeared, she was left holding what no one ever thought to ask about.
So you've always made me proud. You've always made me proud. And
before we move on, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you never miss any of our upcoming documentaries. Long before championships became memories, Donna Kelce learned how to stay present without being visible. Her life wasn't organized around attention. It was organized around stability. Someone had to be consistent when everything else kept changing. Someone had to absorb uncertainty without letting it spread. That responsibility didn't come with instructions. It came with repetition. Over time, support stopped being something she offered. It became something she embodied. And when that happens, other parts of you learn to wait. Dreams didn't disappear. They stepped aside. They made room. Donna didn't think of this as loss. She thought of it as timing, as patience, as doing what needed to be done. The world measured success in outcomes. She managed what made those outcomes possible. By the time her name was known publicly, Donna had already learned how to stand just outside the spotlight and how to stay there.
Travis still calls you mommy.
It's kind of funny.
Pressure doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it blends into routine. For Donna Kelce, routine became the structure that held everything upright. Schedules, logistics, emotional control, all maintained quietly. She became the fixed point in a system built on motion. The person who couldn't afford a break because everything else relied on her staying intact. Identity shifts under that kind of weight. Not suddenly, gradually. Personal wants begin to feel optional. Reliability becomes the priority. Donna didn't lose herself in one moment. It happened in small decisions that felt reasonable at the time. Delays that felt temporary. Assumptions that there would be time later. Later arrived slower than expected. As attention grew around her sons, her role became less visible, not less important. Essential but assumed. The house stayed full. Purpose stayed clear. Something personal grew quieter.
I get a chuckle.
Okay.
Because I know you're doing it to make me laugh.
Recognition feels different when you live behind it. Donna Kelce watched milestones pass without stepping forward. Not because she wasn't invited, but because visibility was never her position. She learned how to celebrate from the margins, how to clap without being seen. Gratitude existed, but it didn't always land where it was meant to. Over time, acknowledgement became indirect, present but distant, and distance changes connection. The separation wasn't physical. It was emotional, built through repetition, through always being the steady one. Conversation shortened. Silence became efficient. Efficiency kept everything running. It also reduced the space where emotion could surface. Donna didn't ask for praise. She wanted reassurance that holding everything together mattered beyond results. Success rarely looks backward, and slowly, connection changed shape. Not dramatically, quietly.
It's all that mommy needs to know.
Okay.
This is between us, Jason.
Fear arrived last, not as panic, but as awareness. Donna Kelce began to sense change before it happened. What happens when a role you mastered is no longer required the same way? When the structure you built finally stands without constant reinforcement. She didn't fear being alone. She feared becoming invisible inside familiarity. Being present, but no longer central. The world prepares athletes for transitions. It rarely prepares the people who supported them. There's no ceremony for emotional recalibration. Time slowed. Days stretched. Silence became more noticeable because nothing interrupted it. This wasn't collapse. It was erosion. Gradual. Controlled. And beneath it all, one question remained unanswered. What does strength look like when it's no longer needed on display? That question wouldn't stay quiet.
Oh, jeez, it's funny.
You're the second born, Travis.
Love you both.
Identity doesn't vanish. It narrows. Donna Kelce had spent so long being defined by what was required of her that she rarely paused to ask who she was outside that function. Being dependable became instinct. When people asked about her life, the answers came quickly. The boys, the schedule, what needed to be handled next. True answers, but incomplete ones. Personal interests felt optional. Support felt urgent. Urgency always won. Donna didn't resent the role. She respected it. But respect can coexist with erosion. Being necessary leaves little room to be known. As public attention grew elsewhere, her private sense of self grew quieter. Not gone, just paused, waiting for a moment that never quite arrived. The danger wasn't exhaustion. It was adaptation. She adapted so well the change went unnoticed, even by her. And once identity adjusts to silence, it forgets how to ask for space.
Malicious. Those are called malicious.
No, these were actual. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Dreams are often the first thing to soften under pressure. Not because they disappear, but because they learn to wait. Donna Kelce carried her ambitions carefully, always postponed. There was no dramatic decision, just reasonable delays. One after another, each choice made sense in the moment. Together, they created distance. Dreams became conditional. After the season, after things settled, after there was time. But time rarely arrives on command. Supporting momentum required flexibility. It meant prioritizing what was needed over what was wanted. Over time, want stopped asking to be heard. Donna didn't call this sacrifice. She called it patience, practicality, responsibility. What she lost wasn't opportunity. It was clarity, the ability to imagine herself beyond the structure she maintained. Dreams weren't abandoned. They were suspended. And suspended things carry weight, even when they're silent.
You have several redeeming qualities, Jason.
Oh my gosh, Mom, don't go on, Dad.
Recognition rarely reaches the people who prevent collapse. Donna Kelce wasn't ignored. She was assumed. Her presence was constant enough to fade into the background. Success redirected attention. Praise followed outcomes. The process stayed invisible. Gratitude existed, but it traveled past her rather than landing. She learned to accept appreciation indirectly, through celebrations not addressed to her, through results that spoke for themselves. Over time, recognition became something she observed rather than received. Observing your own impact from a distance changes how it feels. Donna didn't need applause. She needed to feel seen. There's a difference. As roles solidified, expectations hardened. Support became default. Silence became efficient. Efficiency kept everything moving. It also reduced the space where acknowledgement could surface. The cost wasn't bitterness. It was distance. And distance rarely announces itself. It settles in quietly.
Jason did it because he wasn't paying attention. Travis did it on purpose to escape.
Emotional distance doesn't start with conflict. It starts with compression. Conversations shorten. Check-ins turn into assumptions. Donna didn't pull away. She adjusted. She reduced emotional demand to avoid becoming a burden. Strength, after all, had always meant restraint. But restraint accumulates. What's held in doesn't disappear. It waits. Moments that once invited conversation now pass quietly. Not because they didn't matter, but because there didn't seem to be space. Connection changed shape. Still present. Still loyal. But less open. Less exploratory. Donna didn't feel unloved. She felt peripheral. Close to the center, but no longer inside it. That shift was subtle enough to doubt. Easy to rationalize. Hard to name. Distance doesn't require absence. It requires adaptation. And adaptation, over time, can feel like normal. Until one day it doesn't.
I mean, I was always
you
just
were
right
always
around the
escaping.
corner.
You were escaping. You were lost to us.
I knew it.
Fear surfaced last, not as panic, but as awareness. Donna Kelce began to sense what might happen when the structure she supported no longer needed constant reinforcement. The question wasn't whether she would be alone. It was whether she would still be recognized within familiarity. Being needed had given shape to her days. Without that clarity, time felt less defined. Silence lingered longer. She didn't fear emptiness. She feared irrelevance. Becoming someone whose contributions were remembered but no longer required. The world marks transitions for those in the spotlight. It rarely notices the transition of those behind it. Donna had prepared everyone else for change. She hadn't prepared herself. This wasn't regret. It was apprehension, a quiet tension between who she had been and who she might become. Fear didn't ask loudly for attention. It waited, and waiting made it heavier.
Terrified.
Yeah, you were like
that's the excitement of it.
like Peter Pan's Lost Boys.
The breaking point didn't arrive as an event. It arrived as stillness. Donna Kelce noticed it in moments that used to pass unnoticed. Quiet mornings, longer afternoons, conversations that ended without needing to continue. There was no argument, no confrontation, just an awareness that something inside her was asking to be acknowledged. She had spent years responding to what others needed. Now there was space, and space has a way of amplifying unanswered questions. Who was she when no one required constant support? What did strength look like without a task attached to it? Donna didn't feel overwhelmed. She felt exposed. The systems that once protected her from reflection were gone. She tried to fill the quiet with routine, with usefulness. But those tools worked differently now. They didn't absorb the silence. They revealed it. And that realization stayed with her.
Oh, both you guys would put a towel around your shoulders. You put a chip clip right here.
Restraint had always been her language. Donna Kelce knew how to manage emotion without displaying it. She didn't collapse under pressure. She contained it. But containment has limits. She began to notice how quickly she minimized her own reactions. How often she reassured others before acknowledging herself. Those habits once kept everything stable. Now they felt incomplete. There was no release point. Cry would have felt unfamiliar. Anger would have felt unnecessary. So everything stayed internal. That internal weight didn't ask for sympathy. It asked for recognition. Donna didn't want to be rescued. She wanted to be understood. And understanding requires space. Space she wasn't sure how to claim. The silence she once managed so well now required a response. Not explanation, not justification, presence. And presence demanded a different kind of strength.
Heck, I took you into daycare and you said that your father cut you with a knife.
The hardest moments were the ones without distraction. No urgency, no responsibility pulling her forward. Just time. Time surfaced memory. Decisions made quickly. Feelings delayed. None of them felt wrong then. They felt necessary. Now, without pressure pushing ahead, those moments returned. Not accusing, just present. Donna didn't feel regret. She felt clarity, an understanding of how much had been carried quietly. Silence had protected her for years, but it could no longer define her. Acknowledging that truth didn't weaken her. It grounded her. She didn't need to rewrite the past. She needed to recognize it. For the first time, she allowed herself to exist without justification, without proving usefulness, without disappearing into support. That shift was subtle, internal, but it changed how everything else would follow.
So he couldn't have done
Because
it. So they
Dad
were
never
looking
showed
at
me enough attention. He only cared about Jason.
Change didn't announce itself. Donna Kelce allowed it. She stopped correcting her own reactions before noticing them. For years, strength had meant predictability. Now it meant responsiveness, listening inward without rushing to contain or manage. The silence changed shape. It no longer felt like pressure. It felt like space. Unstructured space revealed discomfort and possibility at the same time. Donna resisted the urge to immediately fill it. This wasn't reinvention. It was recalibration. Quiet, personal, mostly unseen. She didn't need affirmation. She needed permission. Permission to exist beyond function. That permission didn't come from outside. It had to be claimed. and claiming it meant sitting with uncertainty instead of resolving it. The breaking point didn't shatter her identity. It softened it, enough to reshape what came next.
Dad was in Mexico because he had just slit Travis's throat. He's like, I gotta get the fuck out of Dodge.
What emerged wasn't a declaration. It was resolve. Donna Kelce understood that her strength had carried others forward. Now it needed to carry her somewhere unfamiliar. She reframed the past without diminishing it. What once felt like disappearance began to feel like preparation. Silence had been a tool, not a destination. For years, it protected momentum. Now it needed to protect honesty. Donna didn't seek recognition. She sought alignment between who she had been and who she was becoming. That alignment wouldn't come from noise. It would come from deliberate attention, from choosing presence in moments that mattered personally. This shift wasn't dramatic. It wasn't public. It was lived, and it marked the end of one kind of silence. Not the beginning of noise, but the beginning of authorship. What followed would redefine legacy.
It's slow. I've been taking it a little easy, but going on a few trips here and there, so that's kind of fun.
Legacy is often measured by what's visible. Moments, recognition, achievements that can be named. Donna Kelce's legacy lived elsewhere. It existed in continuity, in the absence of collapse, in the steadiness that allowed others to move forward without looking back. She didn't build something that needed to be displayed. She built something that worked. And when something works well, it rarely draws attention. With distance, Donna began to see her role more clearly, not as something lost, but as something complete. The years of restraint hadn't erased her identity. They had shaped it. What remained wasn't silence, but discipline, the ability to stay grounded without disappearing. Legacy, she realized, isn't always inherited publicly. Sometimes it's passed quietly, through example, through behavior. That understanding didn't rewrite her past. It gave it meaning.
Bahamas I've been to Dominican Republic, although
Reflection didn't arrive suddenly. It unfolded in moments that no longer felt rushed. Donna Kelce noticed how much endurance she had normalized, how strength had become synonymous with silence. That definition had served a purpose. It no longer needed to define her. Reflection didn't bring resentment. It brought balance, an understanding that sacrifice and fulfillment can exist together, shaped by timing and choice. Donna allowed herself to acknowledge both what she gave and what it cost, not to weigh them, but to recognize their coexistence. She didn't need validation from outside. She needed to trust her own accounting. In that quiet assessment, she found perspective, not regret, not relief. Perspective. It softened the edges of silence, turned absence into context, and for the first time, reflection felt less heavy, more grounding.
to go to Haiti, but they had to redirect us because they were having some civil strife. So
Meaning changed once reflection settled. Donna Kelce no longer measured her value by how necessary she was. She measured it by intention. Her life had been shaped by holding things together. Now it could be shaped by choosing where her attention belonged. Legacy didn't require reinvention. It required recognition of what had already been built. Stability, emotional awareness, integrity under pressure. She began to see how her influence lived beyond roles. It appeared in how others handled responsibility, how they understood balance. Those lessons weren't taught directly. They were modeled. Meaning wasn't found after the spotlight faded. It remained in what continued. Habits, perspective, emotional discipline. Donna didn't redefine success. She refined her relationship to it. In doing so, she reclaimed authorship over what her contribution truly meant. Quietly, completely.
we ended up in St. Martin,
Sounds like
St.
a good
Thomas,
thing.
which is much better. St. Thomas, yeah, they
When the noise finally stayed away, Donna Kelce discovered that silence could hold more than pressure. It could hold choice. She no longer needed to manage it or make it useful. Silence became a place where intention lived. Years of adaptation had prepared her for this, not by exhausting her, but by sharpening awareness. Strength no longer required invisibility. It could be selective, deliberate. The fear of being forgotten softened, not because it disappeared, but because it lost control. Her worth no longer depended on recognition. It rested in clarity clarity about who she was when nothing demanded her attention. That clarity brought peace. Not dramatic, durable, the kind that doesn't announce itself and doesn't fade when a noise returns.
We had to bail and go to St. Thomas, but I'm much rather be there
Sometimes you just
anyway.
After the Super Bowls, after the celebrations, after the silence settled, Donna Kelce remained. Not waiting, not fading, present. Her story was never about absence. It was about endurance without spectacle, strength practiced privately, responsibility carried without credit. This isn't a football story. It's a human one, about the people who hold structure steady so others can chase greatness. If this story made you think of someone who carried weight quietly, acknowledge them. Say their name. Let silence turn into recognition. And if you want more stories about the human cost behind success, subscribe. These stories don't shout. They endure. Because legacy isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet that lasts.